In my infinite mercy, I allow you to say some respectful words.
Very good.
I don't know what's with me today. Am I in such a good mood, you know?
Yeah, well, we'll change that.
Okay. Oh, you see, that's why I love her. You see, yes.
So welcome, everyone, on the eve of Nietzsche's birthday and the eternal
Seriously?
return.
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow's the day. So let us
My
thank...
dates are other. I like the 3rd or 5th of April. You know what happens then? Stalin's death and so on. Huh?
Yeah, 15th of October, Nietzsche's birthday. So many introductions inadvertently establish firewalls, but I, on the contrary, intend to open essential dossiers and inescapable trajectories.
Is this your Nietzsche? Quote from Nietzsche or you?
No, I'm honored that you can't tell.
Oh, yeah.
It's me.
Okay,
It's
sorry.
Avital Friedrich Ronell.
I know what you are. You are the new reincarnated version of, I'm sorry to do this, but you know, I love that pseudo-feminist bullshit where they say, behind every creative man, there is really a woman whom he appropriates, like, you know, like, usually they are, you know, like, James Joyce has stolen all free association stuff from Nora's notebooks and so on. But I always challenge them, you know. Go to the end, rehabilitate Elisabeth Förster Nietzsche, you know, who was, we know what, you know. Didn't he give Nietzsche's walking stick to a certain democratically elected politician? Sorry, I talk too much, I promise.
No, you're great. I just want, does everyone know who Elisabeth Förster Nietzsche is?
Yeah.
You know, she's
Well, the only good thing is that she was played in a movie by Dominique Sanda, the actress. When she was young, she was beautiful. Sorry for this sexist note. And in another movie, don't underestimate it. It's called The Train. You can download it for free. 3 hours. You know which train? From Zurich to Petersburg. It's that journey. She plays Inessa Armand. And and you know who plays Lenin? Ben Kingsley. Much better than Gandhi. You know, much better. No. I'm not kidding. It's a nicely done movie. You can download it for free. Now, believe me or not, I will infinitely surprise you and shut up.
Let's see how long that promissory note lasts. But Elisabeth Förster Nietzsche was Nietzsche's pernicious fascist sister. Really pernicious. And his DJ, she created his so-called oeuvre. And so it's not a compliment.
And sorry, I broke my...
I know it. I know
it. I was in Nietzsche's house in Weimar. Maybe you were also.
Yes,
and no, this is really disgusting. Exclusively average, you know, like something I don't get.
Yeah, it's very NYU.
Yeah, that's... Yeah. But now I'm serious. But... Don't be too masochist.
I mean, we're not as pretentious
NYU is still
those...
much better than, let's say, those who think that they are the center of the world, like Harvard, Princeton, and so on.
Absolutely. I hope I didn't misrepresent myself here.
No, I'm a Stalinist. You can hope, but the party will decide, you know, like, and you will be properly informed. Like,
all right, let me know. So Slavoj, whose abundant work has induced new mappings, this is the nice part where I had to throw up a few times. Yeah. New mappings and disjunctive complicities among decisive thinkers will speak to us about Hegel this evening.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I will, but like in a mediated way, but okay, yeah.
Okay, in a mediated way. How else does one speak of Hegel?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Touché. On your knees. Okay. About Hegel this evening from a particular point of view, a mediated point of view. Who is Hegel to us, but also who are we to Hegel and his phantomic residue? Don't you think I have a lot of nerve to pretend I know what you're going to talk about?
No, I'm used to it. Do you think, what do you think that I know what I will talk about?
Okay, good.
I gave in the last 3 days 3 talks, and in each of them I got caught in introductory improvisation, and at the end I didn't even reach the beginning.
Okay,
So-
I'm going to move it. I'm going to move
But
it
today
fast.
I will try to. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just have a few more points to score to help everyone elevate what they're about to hear and dialectize what you're going to present. So in a premiere text of Werner Hamacher, the name Hegel was exposed as more or less a cryptophore, shown to be in avoidance and simultaneous embrace of Ekel, the German word for disgust. The way... Did you know that?
No, but I know what Ekel is. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Big
do
part
I.
of it. Yeah, yeah.
And Hegel and Kant battled disgust in matters of judgment, of taste,
Now I will
aesthetic.
be really nasty, but don't you think that if we take the very vulgar everyday meaning in English of the term, which is the name of that philosopher that you just mentioned, I will not repeat it, that for some anti-feminist, that is ekelhaft, no? So this is maybe the deeper unity of Kant and Ekel, you know, but okay.
Oh, I see.
You see,
Very
she's a
nice.
little bit retarded, you know. She needs some time to get.
I'm retarded. For whom is it ekelhaft? What kind of a statement is that?
What?
Kant.
No, wait a minute. I hope you got the point. I was extremely vulgar.
Yeah, no, you said it's ekelhaft.
No, but Kant is ekelhaft.
Yeah, how
Kant
dare
in
you?
the sense of, yeah.
I got it. Believe me, I got it.
Yeah, you got it. Okay, I was
And
just
you're going to
afraid.
get it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. What's not to get?
Sorry?
What's not to get?
No, I could have go on, but even for me, I have some limits. If I were to go now into the associations on those lines, they would have been too much even for me. So let's go on.
Wow. So Ekel discussed in the question of taste, aesthetics, and beyond some pleasure principles, historically traverses Zizek and gets recycled in ways we still need to consider. See, that's a big compliment, that we still need to consider what you do.
But isn't this the ultimate academic empty phrase? The
No,
meaning of this we still
it's-
need to consider is there should always be money. We must maybe sure. You know, I read once and
It's a
wondered.
deconstructive compliment
No,
that
what
you
I
have
mean is that
futurity.
I read a wonderful vulgar analysis of why professors of literature like this idea of, you know, no interpretation can exhaust a work of art. It means we can always justify keeping our job, you know, like, can you imagine you are professor of Goethe and then you say, now we know what he wanted. What do you know?
I've been saying it for years.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to be disgusting, disgusted, lacking in good taste, politically and ethically? We look to Slavoj to understand the relevant vicissitudes
I thought I had the
of
monopoly of.
disgust.
Okay.
Before turning the podium over, let me say a word about the title of tonight's talk. Is Hegel dead, or are we dead in the eyes of Hegel? A Hegelian view of the present age. So I'd like to offer some nano pointers to help you with the trek so you can climb every mountain. Remember your talk on climb every
The
mountain?
greatest movie of all time.
Yeah. Zizek asks us to reflect on a reverting hinge of historicity, how we constitute a legacy, and where the crucial facets of inheritance mark us to this day in what Heidegger would call a historial way. Gerhard Richter, in a book soon to appear, surprisingly relies on Zizek's way of reversing the visor. Did you know this?
No. But you mean, like, not literally?
Yeah, literally.
No, I'm here for a brief moment. I'm serious and not arrogant. Does he even know that I exist?
Oh, no, this is Gerhard Richter.
Yeah.
No,
Not the painter.
not the painter.
Ah, then okay.
But he does, even the painter knows you exist.
Yeah.
So there's the chair of the German department at Brown University. His name is Gerhard Richter, and he actually interviewed Gerhard Richter, the painter, as well.
But it's like in some Woody Allen movie, you know?
Right.
He was there asking himself a question, then he ran to the other side and pretended to be surprised.
So his way of reversing the visor, according to a logic that I suppose in this case would have Hegel be visor and supervisor, reading and powering through our own unintelligibilities and superstructures of note. Zizek thus shifts the key movers in the very concept of transmissibility by having Hegel read us and our particular maneuvers in the constellation.
But to be fair, you know that Adorno, I'm plagiarizing Adorno here.
I know, but I didn't
This is the wonderful
want...
beginning of Adorno's Drei Studien zu Hegel, no? A scathing attack on the most stupid title of a book, Benedetto Croce's, What is Alive and What is Dead? Like, who are we to adopt that arrogant attitude, not? And Adorno says we have to, I mean, when I read about people like Benedetto Croce, his book, I'm tempted to say, my God, maybe Goebbels, not your Goebbels without S, who is now back in Germany, but the real one, you know, that when he said he was, you know, burning books and so on. When I hear about books like Croce's, my temptation is to say, but maybe there was a same principle in Goebbels. He was just burning the wrong books, like burn books like Croce's book, you know.
Do you consider Adorno a philosopher?
That's a very good question. I would say almost a philosopher. And
nice.
Crucial, I hope here we agree, I'm not this postmodern lover of fragments and so on, but for Adorno, wouldn't you agree? I think Adorno is much the masterpieces of Adorno are, for me, quasi una fantasia, prisms, Noten zur Literatur, and I think his late systematic books don't really work, if you ask me. Yeah. So in this sense, Adorno was so on the, to use this fashionable Derridean title, and that doesn't mean this ironically, like more on the margins of philosophy. I'm not a total Adornian in this sense.
So by having Hegel read us and our particular maneuvers in the constellation of world and embodiment, whether Oedipalized or anti-Oedipalized, let me now offer our one unending trigger warning as my best fiend, Slavoj Žižek, reads Hegel reading us. Thank you.
I am grateful to you. Thank you very much. And don't be too afraid. After just a couple of tasteless introductory remarks, we will do some, let's call it naively, serious work. First, and those of you who know certain troubles that Avital got caught into, I think it was already 2 years ago, the most beautiful characterization that I can give of you is, you are my favorite braune Frau, you know, from Hölderlin.
Thank you.
I hope some of you know what I'm referring to, the problem. Next point, I'm so sad because you mentioned Heidegger and so on. You know this big debate now, Schwarze Hefte, here, there, and so on. Yeah. I wrote a text, haven't yet even published it, where I try to do the impossible. On the one hand, yes, bring out the logic of Heidegger's anti-Semitism and so on, but nonetheless, I claim that there is in this attacks of Habermasian rationalists and so on Heidegger, in this, to put it bluntly, their attempt to criminalize Heidegger. there is something much more ominous going on. I claim that if you really look at it in detail, you discover that the true enemy is not even so much Heidegger. What they want to criminalize is a certain fundamental doubt in enlightenment, which you find even in Adorno and Benjamin. I'm even tempted to go to the end and claim that at a certain level, you know, the true target is Adorno Benjamin. One should reread, I have all the respect for Habermas, but here I don't agree with him. The key text of Habermas, I think, is the one he wrote when there was the anniversary some 10 years ago of Dialektik der Aufklärung, and it's something like einige Bemerkungen, whatever, rereading of, and it's clear what his line of argumentation is there, what bothers him. To cut a long story short, the problem is this one. There were, to put it mildly in the underestimation of the century, some slightly unpleasant things in the 20th century going on in Europe. And the point is, to put it very simply, is this just a deviation, historical distortion of the project of enlightenment, or is it an immanent potential which somehow belongs to the very core of enlightenment? I'm here on the side of Adorno and so on against Habermas, because why? Because the greatness of Adorno and Benjamin and others is that Lacan says the same on the very cover of Écrit. He says, our battle is the battle of enlightenment going on. Adorno always emphasizing, even if there is a structural flaw in enlightenment project, this absolutely doesn't mean that we abandon enlightenment, you know, with all that absolutely disgusting metaphorics of, oh, our mind, reason is just like the top of the iceberg and there are some deep passions below or whatever. You know, the point, and here I think, and this, I'm saying this almost out of some sympathy for Habermas. I think he's in a tragic position in the sense that now that we again have phenomena which are returning again and again, you know, all the racisms, anti-feminisms exploding here and there and so on. I don't think his philosophy is, how should I call it, dark, strong enough to confront this phenomena.
He wants to see it as a slight aberration.
Yeah, yeah. The title, it all says the title of his book, what is modernity? No modernität, which means, of course, the same as enlightenment, as unvollendet, as unfinished project. Like, no, we have just to go further. And again, this is why, with all my respect for them, but isn't this a strange fact? And I spoke about this with some Habermasians. I don't want to compromise them here now by mentioning them, and they agreed with me. Namely, if some of you know Habermas, okay, I challenge you, do a simple test, how should I put it, experiment. If, let's say, you live in the second half of the 20th century and you read all of Habermas, would you, but somehow you are isolated from international politics, would you ever have guessed from his texts that there were two Germanys? That there was East Germany? Or maybe in some journalistic text, but what to do with Stalinism? Sorry, you can correct me immediately. I don't mean this as a rhetorical offer. But, and again, once at the conference here, years ago, that Turkish Habermasian, no irony meant, Seyla Benhabib, started to shout at whatever. No, but I didn't mean it as, it's a much more tragic thing. Why this almost total silence, not on the facts, but on theoretical analysis of Stalinism, when, if you come to think about it, the true dialectic of enlightenment is Stalinism much more than fascism. Fascism is relatively simple in its elementary structure, no? It means conservative revolution, or to use the term, I use it with all vicious, evil energy that I can imagine, it's an alternate modernity. Precisely, that's why I'm radically opposed to this term, unfortunately adopted by some so-called post-colonial and so on. Precisely what they want. We want to have modernity, which means always capitalism, let's not bullshit, but without its bad aspects, no? I mean, fascism proposed the first great formula of this, modernity without Jews, no? You know what I mean? So, in this sense, again, going back to it, for me, the point is not that they were lying or cheating politically. For example, the counter-argument some Habermasians gave to me, also that guy, I think it was him, I'm sorry, Andreas Huysen from Columbia, is that, of course, they wanted to criticize Stalinism, but they were afraid that if they do it publicly, it would have been incorporated, used, manipulated by cold warriors, no? I don't think this holds for simple empirical reasons that in their public political statements, Adorno, Horkheimer even more, didn't have any problems condemning in the most ruthless, open way what they perceived as Soviet totalitarianism. To give you an extreme example, and I think this is also a nice characteristic of the psychological difference between Adorno and Horkheimer.